Hello. All right. So today I am thinking about forearms and wrists. I imagine many of you, like me, are in a deep relationship to your phones and computers right now and iPads and all of that. It is our only way of connecting, and it's great. I've never felt so much gratitude for the devices in my life, but I also know that they impact my body. So, we're going to talk through just a couple of ways to stretch and release some forearm tension and do a little self massage. Um, First, just like all the other videos I've done so far, we're going to do some gentle range of motion. So, I'm going to hold my arms out in kind of an airplane level, and I'm going to make sure I'm not doing it from the shoulders. I'm going to let my shoulders relax, and I'm going to extend from my fingertips and lift up. Make sure you can see my full arm range here, pretty much. I'm just going to do some light circles. Again, I'm not pushing it into anything that feels uncomfortable. I am just doing, enough that I feel it. I feel some tingle, but it's not pushing any limits. It's where I'm at. And I'm going to do it at least 6 times, but I would probably like to do it more like 12 or 15. And then I'm going to go the other way. And I'm letting my fingers do a little bit of a curl in and an extension out, because that opening and closing of the palm is also helping stretch through the forearms. But again, does not have to be extreme and should not be extreme. When I'm all done with this, I'm going to let my palms open, and I'm just going to get a stretch. I'm letting my fingers extend. I'm not jamming anything. Just letting my fingers extend, my shoulders feel even on my back, my palms open, and I feel a wonderful stretch through what we're going to say is the radial side, especially, of my forearm. I'm dealing with that, which side is right, which side is left, so pardon my funny adjustments. Again, just going to hold that for a little while. You can even gently open your chest and sway a little bit. Kind of helps me let my shoulders release if I give a little sway. And then I'm going to relax down. Now the next thing we're going to do is do a little stretch for the flexor sides of our arms. For this, you probably want some kind of surface. I'm going to use the floor. I'm comfortable sitting in this position, seiza, sitting on my knees. I'm putting my fingertips against the floor. I'll give you a little bit of a better view. And I'm just going to roll over. Now, for some people, this is already too much, and that's okay. If you're very loose, my ligaments are pretty loose. It's not that I have anything special about me. It's just my ligaments are loose, which has ups and downs. So I'm going to lean back. I get a stretch about here. But you may get a stretch just stretching forward. You may want to take something, which has disappeared. I don't have my yoga block, but I have colors book. So the colors book can stand in for a yoga block. It's not giving me as much of a lift, but just to give you an illustration of how you can use this. And you don't have to put all of your weight down either. I'm barely putting any weight on my palm right now. I'm just enough that I can get a position and a stretch. So you may be up here, you may be down here, you may be here, here. There's many variations. And you can give yourself a little counter stretch. That one's particularly nice. And again, all of this is to your comfort. This should not feel uncomfortable in a way of pain. It should feel like a stretch. It should feel like something's opening and releasing. But if you're feeling discomfort, that is unnecessary. The range of motion and this stretch is more than enough for anyone to get some release. Take it where you're at, especially if you're working at home, because I think a lot of people right now are working even more on their computers and phones than they have been, or if you're with your kids, you're using them more and more to talk to people, all of that stuff. All right, so now we're going to do a little massaging. We're going to do a palm squeeze like we did with the neck video the other day. So, on your forearm, the thumb side up, this bone you feel when you go like this, and it's going up to the top, easiest to see here. This is your radial side. From the bulge, pinky side, up to the elbow here. This is my ulnar side. We talk about things in radial and ulnar because there really is no inside or outside with the forearm because of the way they rotate. There's nothing that's set and fixed unless you're looking at an anatomical position, which we don't need to go into right here. So I'm going to start with my palm squeeze for my radial side. I'm holding my thumb up, my elbow's bent a little. I can relax my shoulder. My palm hits about here. It doesn't go quite into that dip, just right on that muscular bulge. My fingers hit the other side right above the bone, kind of on and above, and I'm just squeezing and kneading like I'm working some bread. Down and up. Now, the one thing you're probably noticing right away that's tricky about forearms is you're using one to massage the other. So there's some work involved. These are the reasons, one of the many reasons why massage therapists are a gift to us, because we don't have to do any work when someone's massaging us. But we're going to do the best we can. For the ulnar side, I find it easiest, or most relaxing on the shoulder, to just hold the arm here and squeeze. And you can let the weight of the arm drop down. If you want and it's comfortable on your back, you can put your elbow on your leg. Whatever gives you the least strain. So you're going to do that on both sides as many times as feels good. And you can really lift that skin up. You could even shake your arm out and hold it by the skin like a cat holding a kitten by the neck. It can feel really nice on the fascia. Actually feels delicious to me right now. All right, so that's our first massage points. Now we're going to do a couple of acupuncture points. And you can look these up. I'm going to tell you the point designations right now, so if you want to look up a chart or a diagram of them somewhere, you can. These are on your large intestine meridian. You don't have to worry about what that might mean for you. But we're going to be looking at large intestine 11, 10, 4, and then lung meridian point 10. So large intestine, you basically are looking at where this crook, this line is, down your finger into this crook here, and tracing it straight up to the outside of the elbow. That's not completely precise, but for our purposes, that's a basic idea of where this meridian is going. At the end of the crease of the elbow, for most people, in the meaty part, if you give a little pressure, you will feel the feeling of an acupuncture point. Large intestine 11. It's amazing. You can hold this. You can, if you have a table in front of you, just sit it on the table so that both of your arms can really rest, and then you can lean into it. If you lean into it, you don't have to push with your finger. You can just lean your body weight in and out. You could do little circles. You're not moving where your finger is. You're just shifting this kind of the skin and the flesh around. And the next one, you're going to move. It's going to be a little different for everyone. But let's say a rough idea of 2 inches-ish down. On that line we talked about, you're going to be in the meat of the muscle, pretty much over the radius bone, but it'll be a little, you'll feel around. Right away when I dig in, I feel it. This one called out to me more than any other point when I have forearm tension. So I think you'll all feel the same. So you're just going to kind of go 1 little thumb width, 2 little thumb, and then woo, there it is. And same thing here. You can lean in. You can do little circles. It feels wonderful. Take as long as you need. Next point, we talked about this line where these 2 meet, the thumb and the first finger. So we're going to take the crease of that and duck underneath the metacarpal bone, the bone of underneath the finger here, bone in the hand. And again, disclaimer, if you are pregnant, do not be touching this point unless you are ready to give birth. Then it's absolutely fine. But if you're not 40 weeks along, just let it go. This point is for the non-pregnant in us. It's amazing. It's also a great point for headaches, which could be really helpful right now because technology can also bring on some extra headaches and screens and all that. That's large intestine 4. It's wonderful. Now I'm going to go to the pad of my thumb, and it's going to be pretty much right in the middle of this pad. This is on the lung meridian. And again, you can put this on a table. I'm just using my leg because my table is holding up my computer for you. You could use this finger, but these fingers aren't so strong that alignment can get a little messed up. So I usually put my hand underneath, thumb in the middle. And again, you will feel the point. Also, you can massage this whole pad because it's all going to like it. I feel it right here the most, which is kind of just off of the point for me, but that's where I need it. So I'm going to go with that. There is nothing wrong with that. This is not about perfection. It's about what works for you. So those acupuncture points are on both sides. Do them on both sides. Take your time. Pick and choose the one or two that work best for you if you don't want to take that whole time. But they're all going to really help release all of this. I feel such a difference between my right and left sides right now. It's amazing. And then I'm going to throw in a bonus point. This is forearm tension, but it's really also about anxiety, which I think is also a great thing to be talking about right now. So this is on the pericardium meridian. The pericardium is the tissue and the fascia that protect and contain your heart. And so a lot of our anxiety and stress can get stored here. So this is, when you look at your wrist, you see these two tendons. All right. Violet would like you all to know that she's just not tired, but she's going to stand in place so I can finish my video. So pericardium 6. So we know, we can all kind of feel we have these tendons that pop up when we make a fist here. We're looking at the space in between these, and for me it's pretty much even with where the visible pop-up stops, but that's different on all of our bodies. So you could also take roughly these 3 fingers and feel, don't press too hard because it can kind of feel a little icky if you just dig right into that spot. It's a tender, personal spot. But you can press around and you'll find a nice tender point. I'll link to diagrams for these points in my notes in my blog when I post this video, so you can also find those. Yeah, it feels great. It's a different feeling. It doesn't feel like the muscular release I get from the large intestine points, but it does feel like it cracks something open in me a little bit. And you can go right opposite that point on your triple heater. Sanjiao meridian is a complementary point. And these two together can really just help release some of that anxiety. It may feel a little bit like you have to come into touch with your anxiety when you first start pressing them, but stick with it. Give them some time. They will help it release, and they'll also help your forearms release. So, little bonus. So then the last thing I want to talk about is just a couple of tips for how to be on your phone during this time. Really basic ones. First thing, might feel like obvious when I show you, but we all do it. I've been doing it. Do not be on your phone like this all day. Your phone can easily come to your face. You can use something under your elbow, like a table, to support it there. Hold it like this with your arms on something, but your phone can be here for a lot of what you're doing, or here, wherever you need, but somewhere where you do not have to crane over like this. Somewhere where your eyes just naturally can see it. And you don't have to be going like this. You can hold your phone and move your whole arm in and out, not this or this or this. You can just lift the wrist and touch things. It's a little slower, yes, but gosh, does it give you a break. It's so important. So I highly recommend that. And the other thing I would say, if you're working on a laptop or desktop computer, find an ergonomic arrangement. So find it so that your arms, your shoulders can be released, your forearms can be at a 90-degree angle. You might want supports depending on your situation, but this is really where you want to be typing from. If you have a mouse that's on a trackpad like this, you're going to need to really take breaks, stretch and rotate your thumbs, do some of this forearm release, because those can really get to the thumb muscles and tendons. And then, of course, sitting in a chair, this is not where you do your computer work. This is where you do your releasing my body, your meditating, whatever that is for you. When you're doing your computer work, find a chair that makes it so that your feet can be planted on the floor, your computer can be at the right level. If you have to put some books to get yourself up there, put some books to get yourself up there, or pillows, or whatever works for you. But do yourself that favor. It's hard. I find myself not doing it often. And even if it's for 10 minutes, I regret it. And usually when you think you're just doing that one email, you end up finding a trail of things you want to do. So why not get yourself set up assuming that you're doing that whole trail of things you've been meaning to do. That's my basic forearm series. There's more, and I will also post in my notes in my blog a link to my favorite tool for forearm work, which is unfortunately at my office right now, but it's called a Rolio, and I will post to that, and I will post to a set of balls you can get from Melt Method that are also great for hands and feet, and I will talk about them more when I get to a feet session later on. As always, my best wishes to you and your loved ones, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon.